Yeah, I know with radio duels being a thing now that it's kind of late to just be hitting Master 5 right now this late into the month, but in my defense, I've been sick for like a week and I've ate nothing but soup for like 3 or 4 days. And I know the inside of my voice still sounds like the inside of some of these holes in this deck right here. So my apologies for that. Yeah, I'm playing TRAPTRIX, and the reason I play TRAPTRIX is not just because of the clickbait thumbnail or the title. I promise this isn't just a meme. Okay. There are some qualities for TRAPTRIX that are very good in a Fire King Snake Eyes meta. Specifically, having access to a card like Gravedigger's Trap Bull, where you can search this obviously, and then you get Rafflesia can activate this from deck whenever. You can activate 2 of these per turn, and when you got a Fire King monsters triggering all over the place, getting popped in hand or getting popped on the field and all that stuff, just stopping a lot of the Fire King effects and then doming for 2k each is pretty decent, especially for checking Kieran. Kieran is like the bane of like every deck's existence right now, and if you can just Gravediggers Trap Hole the Kieran, and it just makes everything so much easier. You can in-perm whatever their normal summon. They can't protect with Kieran. It's like you can't pop your stuff with Kieran because you can negate it. It's nice for a control deck. Well, this isn't really control. This is more of a mid-range deck, so it's nice for like a mid-range deck like this to be able to handle the one uncertain factor against Snake Eyes being like their being the Kieran. Also, randomly, Pinguicula is a monster that there are some formats where this is just a Rhoda, but in this format, this card's second effect actually comes into place very often. If a monster your opponent owns is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can attach this monster to this card material, and whichever type the monster is attached to this card is unaffected by the same type as this card's material. So again, with Kieran, Kieran pops or Kieran triggers in grave, they pop their Kieran, whatever, attach that to your Pingu, and now your Pingu can't be popped by the Kieran, and they just lost the resource in grave. At one point, I think in one of the games I was playing with this, I had a Ponix and a Kieran attached to underneath the Pingu, which actually just makes this almost impossible to kill in that matchup. And then they were about to give me another material before they scooped it up. So yeah, this card randomly just becomes a lot better in a format like this where effects are triggering. This is like similar to during tier format as well. But speaking of tier is still like the second or third commonly most played deck in the meta, and this also owns tier, since you could, whenever there are tier names get sent to the grave to fuse, you just attach them to this, and then and then you steal their resource and they don't get the fuse anymore. So yeah, that's pretty nice. And yeah, in tier, this is also, Gravediggers also works against tier. Bomb is also pretty good against tier, all that stuff. But honestly, the main reason I wanted to play TRAPTRIX was because of Troll and Lockbird. As dumb as the reasoning sounds, it's not because of any of the TRAPTRIX cards. It's just that when Droll is a good hand trap in this format and it's worth running, it kind of makes TRAPTRIX better, because TRAPTRIX is one of those decks that can use Droll as anti-maxi. So on top of Droll being actually good against Fire King Snake Eyes, the most commonly played deck, Droll, this deck combos do not really involve anything much searching at all. Like TRAPTRIX Sarah sets from the deck and special summons from the deck, so that bypasses Droll. You're only ever gonna search on your normal summon, which is like on your normal summon of Mantis, Myrmelio, or Pudica, but like that doesn't get affected by Droll because they haven't drawn any cards yet, so you can't even Droll yourself on this. And then if they were to max you, they would max you before you make Sarah, in which case then you could just Droll them after you already got your search, and then you make Sarah, and then you continue your combos from there. And yeah, you just give them one card off of Droll. So it's It's nice. Now it's like you have 8 outs to maxi in this deck, which is a bit more than average. It's like a bit better than counting Gamma, because Gamma doesn't always, the Gamma, isn't always a hand where Gamma like can be used to protect from maxi, and people are playing around Gamma because every deck's playing it right now. But there's really, you can't just use Droll always as a way to counter maxi with this deck. So that was kind of reasoning. Now I say that, but I used Droll on maxi at a grand total of 0 whopping times. So you know what, that I end up just playing TRAPTRIX just to play TRAPTRIX for the hell of it. And you know what, it was all right. It was fine. This is a deck that had like a, you can definitely get to Master 1 with this deck. And yeah, the boards this deck makes now are you basically end on Sarah plus like 2 Xyz most of the time, ideally, and your 2 Xyz are either double Rafflesia or Rafflesia plus Redoer, or sometimes Pingu plus Rafflesia if you need to use Pingu to trigger your Sarah to set your Holy Tear from deck, or to add your extender like your Arachnocampa. And then you have whatever non-engine you have, and you have a couple back rows, so it's pretty nice. You can top out at above like 5 to 6 interruptions depending on whatever non-engine you have in your hand, and that's pretty decent as long as you don't get even lead. Even if you get even lead, you still can just leave a Rafflesia on the field and a Pudika engrave with a Holy Teia engrave, so that way you still have the Rafflesia interruption, then you have Holy Teia to summon back Pudika, and Pudika, when it's summoned back, it can fire for one of your opponent's monsters. Any special summon monster, you can just banish it until the next standby phase, so you still have like a couple interruptions even through and evenly. And of course, because it didn't kill your monsters, your monster rivers and fall up on the next turn. And if one of your Xyz was a Redoer also dodges the evenly too, and then it comes back. So it's not the end of the world if you get evenly. Obviously, evenly is by far the most effective card against this deck, but you can still survive an evenly, which is, it's decent. And because you have monsters, you have disruption from the back row and the monsters, stuff like just spell and trap removal doesn't, really work that well, because they still have to deal with your multiple Xyz on the field if they get rid of your back row, or if they like reboot you or something. Also, you often have an Arachnocampa either in hand or on field, so that's also, having this on the field protects your spell and trap cards from destruction, so they can't just like Fire King pop all your back row because you have this on the field, and then they can't just pop this or run this over easily as well, because Rafflesia, because TRAPTRIX Garden first of all protects all your TRAPTRIX monsters from battle once, and then Rafflesia on the field protects all of your other TRAPTRIX monsters from destruction and battle, so they can't even just like get rid of this easily to get to your back row. They have to, basically, if you don't have evenly, you have to play into this deck's boards, because there's like so many protection effects interlaced onto its end board. Yeah, that's kind of that's basically like the gist of like the game plan of the deck. I guess we can go over the cards. The ratio for TRAPTRIX monsters. This is pretty much, I think, the smallest ratio you can run in this deck, and I don't really want to run more monsters, so triple Myrmelio, triple Mantis, triple Pudika, these are the best ones, since Myrmelio can add Holy Teia to your hand directly, and Holy Teia is basically how you combo off turn 1. Holy Teia special summons itself, so you get a level 4 body, and then it also triggers Sarah, so you get another body, so Holy Teia is like 2 bodies in your combo, and the card that you discard off the Holy Teia it's almost never a minus, because you're either discarding usually an evenly match, which would be, it's not live going first anyway, so like it's not like keeping it in hand would have done anything for you, or you're discarding a trap hole, and if you discard a trap hole off the Holy Teia, Sarah just summons Dionea from deck, and Dionea, when special summon, resets a hole from the grave, so you can just recur the hole back for free. It's like you didn't discard anything. So yeah, you never really worry about the discard for Holy Teia. Yeah, Myrmelio can search this directly. Mantis searches Arachnocampa, so you can turn the Mantis into the Sarah and then trigger Canva the special itself, that will trigger Sarah, and then Sarah can set Holy Tail from the deck directly. Pudika plus any other TRAPTRIX monster is also combo, since Pudika will add TRAPTRIX Garden, and then if you have like a Mantis or a Remelio or a Dionea, you can just use TRAPTRIX Garden to get an additional normal summon, and then normal summon your other TRAPTRIX monster, and then that will trigger on a normal summon, and then the Sarah that you made off the Pudika will then set the Holy Tail anyways. So yeah, there's no true 1 card combo, but you have a lot of 1.5 card combos as long as you draw either Holy Tail or you draw any one of your other trap monsters, any of your traps or any other TRAPTRIX monster with one of your starters. And then Dionea, it's really strong on the follow-up, since it just summons back one of your TRAPTRIX monsters from grave, and then Pudika and Remelio have effects that trigger when they're special summoned. Remelio pops a spell and trap, and then Pudika banishes one until the next standby phase. Now be careful, because Pudika does allow, if you do this on your opponent's turn, your opponent, when it passes back to you on your standby phase, they can special summon back any of their banished monsters, not just the one that's banished off Pudika. So for example, if they have like a Fallen of Albaz banished, and you don't want to deal with it fusing on your turn, be careful, because they can on the standby phase just summon the Albaz back and then use its effect to fuse your monsters. So make sure you have an out to something like that if you use Pudika to banish. And yeah, then Dionea, when it's special summon, obviously, as previously mentioned, it sets back a trap hole, so it recurs resources for free. And the trap hole does get banished if you don't use it within the next turn. So be careful about that. Also, Dionea misses timing for some reason, even though Remelio is mandatory and does not miss timing. And it's also Remelio is not a hard once per turn, but Dionea is a hard once per turn on a special summon effect. I don't know why these cards came out at the same time. Why they have different restrictions? I don't know. Yeah, Arachnokampa, it's just a free extender. It also has the Lord of Heavenly Prison effect to protect all your back row once from destruction. Now, I'm only running 2 of this because this is kind of it's not very useful in multiples, but it's not the best normal summon. Like, you want to normal summon one of these 9 cards, because these actually get you something on normal summon. If you see this is something that you want to search off if you have the combo, but by itself it doesn't, or like even by itself and like having a trap card, it doesn't really do anything, because these normal summons are combos with another trap card, for example, where Arachnokampa plus a trap card doesn't let you combo. It only lets you make Sarah and set a few trap cards, which is not good enough this format. And double parallel okay, so yeah, also I'm not running multiple Dionea. There's an issue with this deck where sometimes you have too many normal summons. Sometimes you open Mantis with Remelio. If you open these 2 in your hand, it's just so bad, because then you're never going to be able to summon both these in the same turn unless you hard open TRAPTRIX Garden. But then TRAPTRIX Garden, you don't want to run multiples of this, because this card is not any form of a starter, and it only works if you don't search off Pudika. It only works if you open 2 other TRAPTRIX monsters. So then you're getting to like a 3-card combo territory, which is not really reliable. And then so sometimes you're gonna have like Pudika plus Mantis and then Remelio or Dionea. Then like there's always gonna be a monster stuck in your hand since you don't have that many normal summons. Or your Pudika gets negated, and then you don't get the TRAPTRIX Garden, and then you just have a bunch of extra TRAPTRIX monsters in your hand that you can't get rid of your hand. And yeah, that is a problem with this deck. That's why I'm not maxing out on every monster. I'm not running even more monsters, like any more TRAPTRIX monsters. You don't want to see too many TRAPTRIX monsters in your hand. That's how you lose a lot of games, because then your hand is just full of cards that you can't play turn 1. And Parallel Exceed, this is like honestly one of the better cards in your deck. This is an extender and a starter. If you have combo already, all Parallel Exceed does, you can just use it to make a Rafflesia on the 5th summon. Then your plays are protected from like stuff like Ash and Nibiru and other whatever hand traps you want for the rest of the turn. And if you don't have combo, you can just Parallel Exceed, turn into Pinguicula. for example, if you opened like a bad TRAPTRIX monster like Arachnocampa or Dionea plus Exceed, where that's not you can't immediately trigger Sarah, you can just make Pingu, use Pingu to search, and then that will trigger Sarah to set Holy Terror from deck, and then you can continue from there. Exceed, even with a hand trap, Exceed is full combo. You can like normal summon roll, make an Almirage, use Exceeds, go into Pingu, searches Arachnocampa, then link off the Pingu Ikula into Sarah, because Sarah requires a non-link TRAPTRIX monster. So you can link off any of the Exceeds, you can just link off into a Sarah, and then, you know, if you need access to Sarah. So, and then obviously you search Arachnocampa with the Pingus, and then you have full combo there. So yeah, Exceed's really nice. It's just really bad to Maxi. So it also, but it does not play into Maxi, but it allows you to still play into use Droll as an anti-Maxi, even if you open Parallel Exceed. So yeah, the Product Prosperity, it's pretty. It's a lot better in this deck because you're also running evenly since you need trap cards, so you can also double Prosperity, not just as consistency, but also as a way to sack into a board where you're going second. So yeah, Prosperity reveal 6, try to dig for evenly is a legitimate play. One Garden, since it's searchable and having multiples is like, you only have one field spell, so. Double Call By, normally would not be running this just for anti-Maxi, however, this is also a good piece of non-engine versus Fire and Snake Eyes, so you might as well, right? And then for the trap ratios, I'm running 5 traps, which is double Gravediggers, 1 Floodgate, 1 Wildness, and 1 TRAPTRIX trap hole. I think these are pretty much the best trap holes you can run. I wouldn't run more than this, but I also would not run too much lower than this, because again, your end board is going to have a Rafflesia. Oftentimes you're going to have a Sarah that surges out of another trap card just by its effect, and then sometimes you even have a second Rafflesia on the field. So if you have like double Rafflesia on the field and you already have a trap card, one of these traps set, then you've already gone through, you're basically going through every single one of your trap holes in one turn. If you run any less than like 5, then it just feels like you don't even have any more trap holes to use after a single turn. And Gravediggers is the only one I run multiples of because there's just a lot of effects that you can catch with this, especially the 2 most common decks are like Tear and Fire King Snake Eyes, and obviously this you easily use this multiple times against both decks. And with U-Bell coming with a lot of Unchained stuff, this also hits that. So Gravediggers is just very versatile, and obviously it hits hand traps, and you always want one in deck because you want your Rafflesia to be able to play around hand traps. Bottomless, honestly, it's kind of decent right now. You know, Bottomless hit Flamebird, feels pretty crazy. Bottomless hit Kikkilos, which is pretty decent. There's like a lot of decent targets for this. Bottomless is also your only trap hole that deals with Albass, so that's relevant. TRAPTRIX trap hole Nightmare, nobody is playing around this. Like, it's incorrect to play around this. If you play around TRAPTRIX trap hole Nightmare by not using your effect and turn your monster summon, you're just gonna get Floodgate trap hole. So no matter what, your opponent has to play in the trap hole Nightmare, and then this is just another. Then this is like a copy of Strike. And Floodgate trap hole is like not that. It's not as good this format. There are formats where this card is like godly, like cash format, but this isn't one of them. Especially with a card like Die Bellstar in the format, where they can just take the trap hold monster, their Floodgated monster, and then send it into the grave, and then with the Die Bellstar, and then you effectively use it as like an extender. When normally when you Floodgate trap hold a monster, it stays face down, they can't make use of it. Well, that's not the case anymore because of the Wanted engine. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. Now, if you do play against Cash, this is still an auto win against Cash Hero, so that's still a thing. And this is still pretty good against Pro League, so you run the 1. But yeah, I wouldn't run too many more trap holes because these cards are obviously terrible to draw, especially going second. And yeah, this is like the at most I would maybe cut 1 if you want to get the deck count lower, but that's it. And then Evenly Match. Honestly, Evenly Match isn't even that great right now. Against a good Fire King Snake Eyes, Evenly Match doesn't really even cut it in terms of breaking their board. But you have to run trap cards because you need discards for Holy Thea. And you definitely do not want to run more trap holes instead in its place, because trap holes are even worse going second. So this is just something that I think you have to run for the trap hole count, even though maybe not the best piece of non-engine, but it's okay if you pair it up with like another hand trap. Not Maxi though. Evenly plus Maxi is like not that good of a combo, because if you Maxi them, they just don't commit to the board, then there's nothing evenly in the first place. So yeah, sometimes this card's really weird, but it's okay. It's like barely acceptable in my opinion to play as a trap card for Whole Uteo. Something I'm not running that might be correct to run is Shifter, because this deck can play under Shifter. In fact, my opponent has Shifter in me before, and I've like done my entire combo and just set up my full board anyways. Well, and then they were under Shifter, and then they just kind of left because they're like, damn, this guy just played like this was nothing. Well, there's one key thing that Shifter shuts down in your deck, which is Rafflesia. Rafflesia has to send a trap card to grave as cost, and you can't do that under Shifter, which means that if you Shifter, then you just basically can't make Rafflesia. And against the decks where Shifter is good against, like Fire King Snake Eyes, that's fine. It's fine. You don't need Rafflesia if you already resolve Shifter. You can just make like a Pingu and be even more annoying that way. What it gets bad is that if you Shifter against a deck that doesn't care too much about Shifter, and then you can't make Rafflesia as well, that's when it gets rough. Like if you play against Cash, and then you don't have Rafflesia to send the Floodgate Trap Hole for the Trax monster, and then you're under Shifter, then that gets really bad. Even against Pearly, not having Rafflesia access means that they can easily just kill you while under Shifter, because they can just play through their White Cats. And then if you don't have access to the Floodgate for their Exceeds, then you don't have access to Rafflesia's holes, or phrasing. You don't have access. You don't have the ability to send holes for cost. Then, you can just easily die to X Pearly or E Pearly happiness and all that stuff. So, yeah, sometimes Shifter can be dicey, and it still is probably correct to play Shifter, especially with U-Bell coming, depending on the meta you expect. So, if you want, you can fit in 2 Shifter in here as well. Maybe like cut a couple Droll, or even cut the Call-By if you want for the Shifters. And yeah, for the extra deck, so what I think is necessary, double Rafflesia, Redoer, 1 Pingu Ikula, 3 TRAPTRIX Sarah, and 1 Adipus, and the Zeus. So that's like 9 to 10 slots that are required. So if you're struggling with your prosperity banishes, just keep all the ones I mentioned and banish everything else. Because like worst comes to worst, you'll probably be fine if you just do that. The flex spots I have in here are Exciton, Baguska, SP, as weird as that sounds, Almirage, and Alamaris, and Axis Kotager. So SP, obviously, you should probably just play SP anyways. Like this deck can make SP very easily because it plays a Link 1. So yeah, actually I consider SP a stable too. SP should be in here. Don't forget I said anything like that. Almirage is again to make, it's literally just to make your Exceeds full combo if you only draw a hand trap plus Exceeds. And it does come up. It basically turns Exceed into another starter, and just having more starters is nice, especially in a mid-range deck when you only have like 14 to 16 starters. Sometimes you do have to open playable, so Almirage is nice there. Exciton and this deck sometimes struggles going second, so having an option to board wipe is nice. And Exciton plus Zeus is the classic combo where you Exciton, blow up the field, attack, and then overlay Zeus on top of it. That way it's like having a 4 material Zeus, right? You wipe the field and then you still have like Zeus activation for your opponent's turn. So like that. Alamaris it's decent. It helps push through damage because it turns all Dioneia summons the monster defense, so that if you don't run Alamaris, sometimes it struggles. You can struggle to push through damage, but this turns everything to attack, and this lets you summon back Pudika to like clear your opponent's board, or Myrmilio to clear your opponent's back row to make aggressive pushes. It's not necessary. You rarely ever make this turn 1 as your turn 1 board, so you can cut this if you have other cards you wanna fit in, like for example, Typhon, you're definitely putting a Typhon in here, so I would cut either Alomaris or I would cut Baguska. Baguska is something you can make. You can make Baguska under one special summon under Maxi, and then you can also back it up with back row. But like, you never do that, like, because you can also make you can just make Sarah under one special summon as well. And especially if you have back row, you would almost rather just have the Sarah on the field so that you can plus off your back row instead of just going into a Baguska and just stalling out the game. So like, I've never made this. This was like the filter slot, and this is probably what I'm gonna remove to put in Typhon when it comes out. And access Skill Talker, surprisingly, a lot of people don't know this, but TRAPTRIX has access to a very easy OTK line with access Skill Talker. So the idea is you make Adipus, and then you make access Skill Talker with the Adipus. So access Skill is made of Link 3, so that's 5200. And then you can Holutea back special summon the Adipus, because Holutea can special summon any TRAPTRIX monster from your grave. So you summon back the Adipus, and then you have another trap in grave. Add all your TRAPTRIX monsters gain 1k attack. So Adipus is at 28. So then you have a 28 Adipus and a 53 access Skill Talker, and that's actually just game. And literally nobody sees that coming, even though it's not that hard to pull off. All you really need is 4 Link materials on the board, and then you can like just attack the game, and you know, access Skill clears the field for you. And Adipus also, if you have excess traps in grave, Adipus can also, you can banish a normal trap and then destroy monster destroy cards your opponent's controls as well. So you can clear the board and go for an OTK, which is nice for the follow up on turn 3. If your opponent half breaks your board, right, but then you have like a Holutea in grave, you can easily kill them back on the crackback. So yeah, you'll definitely see that in the some of the replays I'll show you. Some cards that I cut were, first of all, I never cut this card, I just never played Kulyra. Kulyra is, in my opinion, not worth playing in modern TRAPTRIX decks anymore. Just like, this card is just way too slow. If this card could summon back Sarah during the end phase, then yeah, hell yeah, I would run this. But it only summons back monsters in defense, so it can't summon back links. So then this, like, all this lets you do is like, what, reset, keep a trap hole on the field and set it, instead of sending it to grave, but then you can't even use the trap hole on the same turn again. So like, you don't even get value out of this until the turn after. So this card is just way too slow. You never really go into this, and if you can go into this and get value out of it, then you've already probably won that game. What's more notable is the small 3-card package, which is Strenna, one of either Teardrop or Hyperiton, depending on which one you would prefer to end on, a Monster Negate or a Monster Tribute removal, and then one Emerald Seraphim Jasmine. The way this works is there's sometimes, specifically in like the combos of Mantis, where you end with 3 bodies instead of 3 extra bodies plus Sarah instead of 2 bodies plus Sarah. Instead of going into one Xyz and then having an extra body left over, you can commit all 3 plus the Sarah into a Roland Seraphim Jasmine, and then make a Strenna instead, and then tribute the Strenna for the Jasmine. That way you can add Dionea back to your hand for follow-up, and then this card gets tributed, so you can summon your level 8 or like your Teardrop or your Hyperiton as your free interruption, and then you can summon a Pudica from your deck if you didn't already have access to it with the Jasmine, and then link that off into a Sarah. So then you end on Jasmine, Sarah, plus one of these 2, and then you also have a Pudica engraved to be revived off Holutea, and then you have guaranteed follow-up with Dionea. That's actually a really strong play. It's just that the 3 extra deck slots, especially when Typhon comes here, I don't think I can afford 3 extra deck slots anymore, especially with the SP and Typhon introduced now. And I also want to include some cards to help going second, like Exciton Knight. Now, if you want to cut 3 random cards, like say you want to cut Baguska, Alomaris, and like Exciton or Almaraz, and then fit this in, and then also fit in an extra card for Typhon, and you can find those 4 slots, be my guest. This is a very good engine, and it's oftentimes the best board you can make given some hands. It's just I personally can't find room for it. So yeah, you won't see that play in the replays. However, I promise you, some of the replays I have are quite interesting still. So this is a game where we're going second versus Vanquish Souls, and yeah, this is gonna be one of those games where we're playing a rogue deck that people don't play against very often, and people who haven't played against TRAPTRIX will play into your board very incorrectly quite often. So they're going to, lead with Raisin, because Vanquish Soul players always lead with Raisin, and then they're going to chain Heavy Borger, and I'm going to chain Maxi to that, and honestly, I think they should have just let it go. But they should have just let me draw one off the Maxi. It doesn't matter. They're going to chain Caesar Valius, but now, because Caesar Valius is on the field instead of Heavy Borger, they don't get to draw a card, and obviously you're not going to make Rocket of Vanquish on the Maxi, so they just pass. And now my turn, I draw Pot of Prosperity. I'm going to Prosperity for 6, reveal. I already have enough engine as it is, so really I think I was just kind of digging for evenly matched, thinking that this might be some kind of random thing that doesn't matter. I'm gonna just style some Heavy Borgers, reveal Mad Left to draw a card, and I'm just gonna enter battle phase and make them get rid of their back roll. In phase 2, summon Pudica at the field spell. Well, okay, first you're gonna summon Caesar Valius, I'm gonna add the field spell, and for some, okay, so I'm gonna go to Sarah, and for some reason there's Caesar Valius pops, revealing Maxi. Of course, why would you not have Maxi, right? And they're gonna pop Sarah, and I have TRAPTRIX Guard in hand, so are they like blank hoping that I don't have another TRAPTRIX monster? I can just activate this and normal summon another TRAPTRIX monster. Normal summon Dionea, revive the Pudica, and this Maxi obviously is gonna get called by the grave, so yeah. And now with these two, I'm gonna link one off into Sarah, and then I'm gonna summon the Arachnocampa. That's gonna trigger Sarah. We're gonna set Floodgate Trap Hole, then these two are gonna make Reflate. So it is kind of weird how, like, I could have made an SP line and I got rid of the Caesar Valius. This is why Evenly is kind of weird, because it's really hard to clear your opponent's monster with this deck while also putting up interruptions, right? You pay pretty much, like, if you either put up an interruption or you use it to like clear a monster like an SP Little Knight, but SP Little Knight by itself isn't really that great of an interruption. So instead I offer Rafflesia plus Floodgate Trap Hole, and I have TRAPTRIX Garden Protection and Rafflesia Protection. So what does my opponent do? Okay, my opponent normal summons Raisin, and I'm gonna Floodgate Trap Hole, and I know they have a Borger in hand, so they're gonna chain Borger, and I'm gonna chain Rafflesia. Still the same summon window. I'm gonna send Bottomless just to get rid of their Raisin forever, and they're going to use Caesar Valius for some reason to make it immune this turn, even though it doesn't save their Raisin. I don't know why that you would. I don't know why you did that, because now you see they're gonna add a Jiaolong off of it, but because it wasn't the end of their hand, when they revealed for Caesar Valius, they can't summon the Jiaolong, so I don't really know where the logic was there. And now that's gonna trigger Sarah, 2 effects, and then they're gonna Maxi, even though they everyone forgets this, but the Maxi is called by the grave, so this Maxi is actually not gonna resolve. And then I mess up the order, because when you get double prompts in the UI, and I chose the one that special summons first, and that's really bad because I summoned Dionea, and you notice I don't reset anything because Dionea, for some goddamn reason, okay, Dionea is a when this card is special summoned. Dionea misses timing. I know, it's an old ass card, but Mermelio literally was printed in the same set as Dionea, and Mermelio is mandatory, it does not miss timing, but Dionea is optional and misses timing. Make that make sense, Konami. Okay, whatever. And they're gonna enter battle phase and not realize that TRAPTRIX Guard protects from battle, so that actually does nothing. And they're gonna Rocket Vanquisher, summon the Mad Love, and then Mad Love will add. You're adding a trap card into a TRAPTRIX board. How's that gonna work out for you? Well, you're gonna see in a second. So they're gonna set 2. Passes to my turn. I'm gonna use TRAPTRIX, banish the Dionea, and they're gonna chain Rocket Vanquisher to add the Caesar Valley is back to hand, and then, you know, I'm banishing Dionea to summon another Dionea, so I can reset the bottomless for next turn. Then you're gonna use Mad Love. Bro, you're gonna use Mad Love, return the monster with the lowest defense on the field. Do you know what has the lowest defense on the field? Do you know what has the lowest defense on the field right now, sir? Okay. Dionea. You gave me back the Dionea for free. You gave me the best normal summon in my deck for free. Off the Mad Love. Alright, so that's gonna trigger. Zero's gonna trigger off the Dionea, and they're going to infinite impermanence. What are you imperming? Unaffected by trap card effects, unaffected by trap effects. Okay, so that means this imperm doesn't even, because it doesn't negate anything, it doesn't even turn off this column. That's how useless it was. And now they're gonna let me trigger the other effect of my Sarah. So I'm gonna summon on something else from deck, and then they're gonna chain Heavy Borger, which I'm gonna maxi this. It's been 2 turns now. Now my maxi gets the resolve because it's, you know, that I guess that's fair. And yeah, drawing the Droll, special Mermelio, force the Snow Devil, and do not activate that. Just don't activate the Snow Devil in this position, because watch what happens. Okay, you're gonna activate Snow Devil, and you're gonna pop everything on the field, right? That's what you think. But no, what actually happens is you pop your own rock. Literally all of my monsters live, because once again, unaffected by trap cards, and this protects all my TRAPTRIX monsters from destruction. So you literally lost more monsters from your own Snow Devil than I did. Nice. And then, yeah, now they're going to activate Mad Love effect, and I'm going to use Rafflesia to dump TRAPTRIX Tropical Nightmares. So you don't even get to add anything. And out of that entire exchange, keep in mind, I did absolutely nothing with that. I didn't normal summon, I didn't summon any monsters from my hand, I didn't use any cards from my hand. I summoned a Dionea of TRAPTRIX Garden. That's it. But they triggered all of my effects for me. So I got to get a full field, full setup for free without, I didn't even normal summon the Dionea yet. I could have probably killed them that turn, but they just decided to, you know, to scoop it up in shame. Right, so this is probably one of the least fun matchups for both sides. Okay, so this hand is actually pretty good. We have TRAPTRIX Garden and Runick. They're going to infinite imperm me, which is fine because I already have the Runick in hand. You know, play through the hand trap like it's nothing. Link off the Sarah, trigger Runick, set Holutea. Holutea will dump Floodgate Trap Hole, special summon Dionea from deck Dionea, special back or set Floodgate Trap Hole back, and they're gonna imperm. Well, they open 2 imperm, which against most decks it's pretty good. Against TRAPTRIX, I still kinda so I kinda messed up here because I went Alamaris first, and then I realized that Dionea, not only does it miss timing, it's also a hard once per turn. The second effect. They need not remind you again, okay, TRAPTRIX Mermelio is not a hard once per turn on its special summon effect. Again, why are the 2 TRAPTRIX monsters printed in the same set have such vastly different restrictions? I don't know, Konami. That's yeah, whatever. Okay, anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna make Rafflesia anyways. So through double imperm, I still end on Rafflesia plus TRAPTRIX Garden because I hard drew. So it's okay. Like for getting hand trapped twice, you know, I'll take it. And this matchup I was talking about, my opponent's playing Unchained. Okay, so Unchained. Why is this matchup so fucking like excruciating to play for both sides? Because right now my field is Rafflesia, Trap, and well, it's Rafflesia on the field with one TRAPTRIX monster. Rafflesia means none of my monsters can be destroyed by card effect, which is, you know, tends to be kind of annoying for Unchained to deal with if like all my cards are just floaty fucks that well, they can't die. And then, you know, we have if I had trap cards, TRAPTRIX Sarah will just be continuously summoning more monsters from a deck that can't be destroyed. So it's like we have an endless conga line of assholes there. Meanwhile, I am a back row deck sort of, and Unchained cards I can't destroy. So bottomless trap hole is out of the picture. It's just really hard to deal with the monsters. Like my primary way of even beating up monsters is by attacking over them, which I can't do, as you'll see me hesitate to do later on in this game. It's just two decks that like struggle to deal with the other decks monsters on the field. And you know, when you have a matchup like that, it's kind of you'll see. I'm gonna chain Maxi, and you know, Maxi doesn't resolve. So that's why I'm showing this game, because you know, if a Maxi resolve versus Unchained, that's not really a game worth watching. But you know, my Maxi didn't resolve, so yeah, they're gonna Aruha pop their chamber special Unchained Soul of Shavara, and this is the one single monster in the entire deck that I can actually destroy, that I can pop with bottomless trap hole, because this effect triggers when it gets sent to the grave, not when it's destroyed. So I can actually just bottomless it. And then that's going to trigger Sarah, and I'm going to set a Holy Tater follow-up. And then my opponent has another Unchained monster anyways. They're just going to set their chamber back, and then they're going to pop Aruha, and then they're going to summon another Shavara, and then it's like, oh boy, here we go. Then the Yama comes out, and then the Shavara triggers, it's going to set another Unchained trap, and now we're going to get into this dumbass grind game. But they're just two decks staring at each other for the most part. So they're gonna add another Shavara, trigger Shavara. The third Shavara, by the way, pop their escape. Escape is gonna summon the level 6 dude. Gonna go into Unchained Soul of Rage, and then they're gonna pop back their Shayama, and then they're gonna trigger Yama, summon back the Sarama, summon Bundle Unchained Soul, and then they're gonna go into DD the Wave King Caesar. I don't know why you did this, to be honest, because I have TRAPTRIX on the field. You can't really run over. Well, you're gonna see. Okay, attack Sarah. No, why the TRAPTRIX no die? Why the TRAPTRIX no die? So my Sarah is double protected from battle. One, TRAPTRIX Guardian protects it the first time. Two, Traflasia protects it permanently. So they just domed me for a bunch of damage. They didn't actually remove any of my monsters. So instead they're gonna use these two to go into Anguish, and then Anguish is gonna finally, this is what they should have done at the start. You know, they're gonna go Anguish into Abomination, and then end phase Abomination is gonna pop the Garden because they realize that's card's annoying. But end phase, I'm going to Holutea, summon back the Dionea, and then Dionea is gonna trigger to set back the Floodgate Truffle, and then here's where the staring starts. So I'm gonna go into SP Little Knights just to get rid of the DD Wave King before, you know, I trigger anything. So yeah, this very, very profitable High King Caesar right there. Fortunately, that does trigger their Shavara, and then I'm gonna summon Holutea. I'm gonna trigger Sarah, then get another Dionea. Dionea set back the Spawn Trap. It's really annoying because again, this is Unchained. I can't summon Mermelio to pop their back row because their back row triggers too. Like, I just can't interact with a lot of their stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna set Grave Digger from deck, and then these two I'm gonna go into Redoer, and I'm gonna Redoer spin back the Chain of Abomination because I don't want to deal with this anymore. And then yeah, end phase. Unfortunately, they do have this floating escape, and you know, this looks like a pretty okay position, except yeah, I get a Tour Guide number 1 off the Redoer, and they're gonna use Shayama, which I am going to Gravediggers the Shayama so that they can't, you know, pop their stuff and continue that way. And their card in hand, well, first we're gonna trigger Sarah, and their card in hand is Maxi, of course. So I'm going to special summon. So again, I elect not to special summon Mermelio because I don't want to pop the Unchained escape. Unfortunately, they top deck into Abomination Prison, which is a Chain Monster, and then they get Aruha, and now they get to do their shit again. So yeah, Aruha pops the escape, and then the escape is gonna trigger. And I'm gonna SP Little Knight, get the Aruha out of there before they get another monster. I can pop the Aruha, and they're going to summon Rakea from deck. And Rakea is gonna attack over the Sarah. So now the SP comes back, and now I'm like, how the fuck do I out this shit without attacking them and destroying them by battle? Because now my X deck is really tight. My only actually way of removal now is by destruction or battle, except for Zeus. I'm not gonna make a fucking Zeus and Zeus my own field in this position. That's not gonna happen. So Redoer, I'm gonna use Rakea to pop the Aruha, and I'm gonna chain the SP Little Knight on the on the Aruha, so they can't pop it. Yeah. Then they're gonna get Tour Guide number 2 off of the Redoer, and then the Holutea. I'm gonna summon back the Dianea, and Dianea is gonna reset the Gravedigger's Trap Hole again. Just keep cycling back the trap cards. Then I'm gonna go to Sarah, and I'm gonna just normal summon Arachnocamba, go into Pingu Icula, Pingu, add something, realize I don't have anything even good to add, so I add the Mamilio, and I just use Sarah to set another Gravedigger Trap Hole. You know, my win con now is like, you know, I'm not gonna attack on your monsters, I'm just gonna burn you to death with Gravedigger's Trap Holes. Yeah. And then the bottomless goes because it got reset, and stand my phase, redo her again, take finally a non-tour guide card, take their Wailing. Now they're gonna pop their Abomination Prison, summon another Aruha. These two go into Darius, and then you're gonna Darius attack over the SP Little Knight, and then attack over the Sarah with the Aruha again. Redo her. End phase, I'm gonna chain redo her to draw the card. See, then I draw into the. Thank the Lord, I finally drew into an Ash Blossom. Jesus Christ! And they're gonna Shayama, which I'm gonna Gravediggers again. This Shayama is never going to summon itself back. I'm gonna level with you. It's just gonna get Gravediggers the entire time. They're gonna go into the Visor King, and I think they're locking the Fiends because they didn't like go into Zeus, or they're not running it. And then they're gonna go into another Yama, and thank God we top decked the Ash Blossom off the Redoer draw. If I didn't top deck the Ash, this game would have probably dragged on for another like 5 fucking turns. And yeah, thankfully now they have nothing. Now I can finally just Pingu, add Mantis, whatever, just attack for game now. Because Yama is done. Finally they left the monster on board that I can attack and kill by battle and not fucking float for like 10 years on. Thank you. I would not want to play this matchup ever if Unchained gets popular, which is unfortunately, you know, with the U-Bell stuff coming, and Unchained might be getting more popular, so this might be a match you have to face with this deck. Well, this is a game going second versus Fire King Snake Eyes, and we only opened one non-engine, which is Drone Lockford, and our opponent leads Poplar. Now, thank God they're on Fire King Snake Eyes, because if they were on pure Snake Eyes, or even if they were on Rescue Ace, this Droll probably does nothing. But thankfully, because Fire King Snake Eyes is the most popular variant, at least even if they begin with open Poplar, you will still get some value out of Droll. Now, what my opponent does is you know, they made my Droll way better than I. You know, I know Droll's good, but I don't think it's good enough to make you end on Birch Pass, to be honest. Because if it does, a Droll would be a 3-of in every fucking deck in this format. Jesus Christ. Anyway, onto my turn. I draw evenly, and this is a mistake. I don't know why I did this. I'm like, I might as well get some value out of this evenly, right? Except you get absolutely 0 value out of this evenly because they will just chain Birch to evenly, and then they will simply summon the Ash, and then literally don't have to manage a single goddamn thing off the evenly, and then search Kurikara for some reason instead of another Poplar. Maybe they have the other Poplar in hand. I don't know why you would search Kurikara right now, but you know, whatever. So my turn, I will normal summon Pudika, and of course you get hit by Maxi going second. It's the classic. So I can't. This Parallax Seed in my hand, not really gonna do anything. This Holutea in my hand, can't really use it this turn because I don't want to commit the Maxi. So we're gonna make Sarah, and we're gonna set Bottomless and Holutea. So my logic is this is kind of 2 interruptions. Since Bottomless, you know, is Bottomless, and then Holutea, I can use it at any time to trigger Sarah to summon another Pudika from deck, and then, or yeah, another Pudika from deck, and Pudika can banish far from one of my opponent's monster temporarily. But it's not that great. Like this normally should not be able to stop Fire King Snake Eyes if they play properly, especially if they top deck into Bonfire and add Oak, and then Oak will special back to Poplar, and then Poplar effect will add Subversion because they are playing Subversion. So Subversion, they're gonna hit my TRAPTRIX Sarah, which is really bad because now I don't have Holutea as an interruption anymore. So literally Bottomless and a Dream. Okay, And I'm like, there's only one way Bottomless is gonna stop their turn. And they're gonna go Oak plus Poplar straight into Flameverge. And they played right into it. Yeah, we're gonna Bottomless the Flameverge, and then their turn is over. Yeah, and they're gonna put that back, add Onyx to hand, but they already normal summoned, so can't do anything with that. And they 6-card hand with an Ash on field. They pass to a Bottomless Trapple. Man. I have a feeling the deck is a little better than this, but yeah. End phase I'm gonna Holy Tail anyways because we're going for an OTK, the OTK line I mentioned before. So I'm gonna normal summon Mantis, and Mantis is gonna get ashed because, you know, why would I be able to resolve my effects this duel, right? And thankfully, this Parallel Exceed in my hand that I didn't commit because I got Maxi last turn. I can summon it now on the Summon of Sarah, get the Exceed out, and then we're gonna link 3 into Adipus. And I felt a response in hand, so like, I know they have Link Rebuild. I don't know if they have another hand trap possibly, if they have like a Veiler. So like, I want to see if I can bait stuff out. So I'm going to use Adipus effect, target, and Ash. I'm not going to pop it because if I pop it, they can just summon Phonics, and then they get another body anyway, so that doesn't really matter. So now I'm going to use Travis Garden, Banish the Exceed, summon back the Pudiga, finish targeting the Ash, and then they're going to chain Link Rebuild. And sure, I guess. But now now they don't control a fire monster, so now if I pop their Link Rebuild, they're not going to be able to summon the Ponyx to chain block, to chump block. So now we're going to go into Access Code Talker, and this is the ODK I'm talking about. Access Code Target Adipus, pop Link Rebuild, and then the Holy Tail Engrave is going to revive the Adipus. We have a Bottomless Trapple and an Evil Engrave, so Adipus is going to gain 1k attack, and this is 28 plus 53, which is game. So yeah. Yeah, just put this game out of its misery. We're gonna pretend most of that game didn't happen. So this is gonna be showcasing the most simple, basic combo in the deck, which is just Mantis plus any trap hole. You're gonna Mantis, and if you don't have don't have Arachnocamba, you're gonna add Arachnocamba. That's how you do this combo. But since we already have it, I'm just gonna add a Dionea for follow up, and then I'm gonna link this off into Sarah, and then trigger Arachnocamba. That will trigger Sarah to set the Holy Tail, and Holy Tail will dump Trap Hole Nightmare, or whatever Trap Hole that's in your hand. It'll special itself, Sarah will trigger, summon Dionea from deck. Dionea will reset whatever Trap Hole you ditched for the Holy Tail, and then you go into Rafflesia. And yeah, that's it. Since we're not running the High Periton and the Rikas and Aromatherapy stuff, because we don't have room in the extra deck right now, this is the best you can do off of the basic 1.5 card combo. And you have like a Rafflesia, you have like whatever trap card you dumped, you reset it. These two are protected with the Rafflesia, and the Arachnocamba will protect any other sets you have, and then you have like non-edge. So yeah, it's obviously it's not auto win, but it's fine. It's enough for a mid-range deck. And our opponent's gonna use Runick Summer to special summon, and trust me, you have no idea where this is leading. Okay, so they're gonna summon Hugin, right? And then Hugin is gonna pitch Nightmare Archfiends. And you should be thinking, if you haven't seen this, you've probably been thinking, what the fuck is this? So anyway, I'm gonna trap Hole Nightmare the Hugin so they can't get the fountain. And then the Hugin's gonna die. And I have to trigger Sarah because I don't really have any other trap cards, so I can't. This is my only chance to trigger Sarah, so I might as well just get the Miller from deck for a free trigger, and then, you know, get a free set off Sarah. We're gonna set a Gravedigger's Trap Hole, and our opponent's gonna use another Runick card, special another Hugin, discard another card, and like I'm honestly perfectly fine with them spending 4 cards in hand to search a fountain. That's fine. I have Droll. They're not gonna be able to draw off the fountain this turn anyways, so it's fine. I'm gonna activate Fountain, they're gonna activate Monster Gate. By the way, they dumped Pauper up. And what is their Monster Gate target? First of all, Earthbound Release. Read this card carefully. Okay. while reasoning is taking 10 years. Oh, rollback. Oh, now we get it. Okay, so there. Junk Collector. You can banish this card on the field and one normal trap in your grave, apply that banish trap card's effect. So they have double rollback right now, sort of. What they're going to roll back, you're gonna see. So I'm gonna link these two off, or link. I'm gonna exceed into Alamaris, and then you're gonna trigger Junk Collector, banish the Nightmare Archfiend. They're gonna summon 3 to my side of the field. And now they're going to roll back on the summon window. They're going to target Earthbound Release. When a level 6 or higher monster is normal or special summon, tribute 1 Earthbound Immortal monster. They don't have to do that because they'd roll back the effect. And now the effect is destroy as many monsters your opponent controls as possible. And if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined original attack of those destroying monsters. So how this works is you're gonna destroy 3 Nightmare Archfiends, that's going to be 6k damage, and then Nightmare Archfiend, whenever a Nightmare Archfiend token is destroyed, the controller takes another 800 damage. So this is going to be 2400 plus 6k, which is 8400, which is game. And that would have killed me. However, this is the same window as the summon window, so I can still use TRAPTRIX Deflasia to send bottomless trap hole to the grave. Now I'm gonna bottomless the Nightmare Archfiend tokens so that they don't get destroyed by Earthbound Release, so I don't take this 6k burn damage. And now I get to live. And then I'm gonna trigger Sarah, and then we're gonna trigger Morella, which I'm going to Ash because I don't want them to summon any more Paleos from grave. I'm gonna chain block the Paleo more so than like Ash to Morella. I don't really care about the Morella. But yeah, now they have nothing, and you know, the Sarah is going to summon Mermelia pop the Fountain, and then Alamaris, Revive, Mantis, and attack for game. If I was, honestly, if I was playing any other deck that wasn't exactly TRAPTRIX, and I didn't have Reflasion on my field, I would have fucking lost to that. I would have fucking got FTK'd by Runick Earthbound. So thank God that didn't happen. So yeah, I know TRAPTRIX is one of those kinds of rogue decks where even though there's no URs in the main deck, there's how many URs are in the extra deck? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 in archetype URs in the fucking extra deck, plus another redoer, which you probably do have this already, but again, this is also required, so that's like another extra deck card. And yeah, I understand that can't be rough. At the very least, you can find a lot of these in the secret pack, like especially Sarah and Reflasia, the new extra monster you need multiple copies of. You can feasibly build this deck off of just rolling one secret pack over and over again. So yeah, if the new pack cards don't interest you, or you get lucky on your UVAL pulls, and then you have a few leftover gems, you know, and this deck looked interesting to you, go for it. Give this a shot.